Our little organization is a toddler, 3 years old. I'm truly heartbroken not to join you all live, but I'm very honored to run this organization and do a year in review. So I'll start with a brief recap of the year. We started off strong with much gratitude to the American Society of Biomechanics for their first ever grade grant. This provided $5,000 of seed funds for us to become our own nonprofit. And with huge thanks to the Nonprofit for Newbies consulting firm, we were able to file all our paperwork and stay in compliance to become a 501c3 nonprofit. This summer, we also hosted a number of women in science events that I'll talk about a little later. In January this year, we published our first paper on IWB and the state of women in biomechanics. So thanks to the Journal of Biomechanics editors for that opportunity. This spring, we held our first elections as an official executive board, and we have an incredible volunteer team running multiple committees that we'll talk about in a bit. And we're continuing to grow. To date, over the last 3 years, we've had over 800 people sign up to learn about this community, either as a member or an ally. So we really appreciate every single one of you. And with being a nonprofit, we have done a massive amount of work on our organizational structure. Here I have to shout out our secretary, Ashley Collymore, for getting us organized, onboarding volunteers, getting all the Google Drives set up and everything. We now have our own email addresses, our own domain name. We meet regularly, and it's all towards this larger effort. And huge thanks as well to our treasurer, Caitlin Banks. We're using the funds from our grant wisely. We just purchased a new website through Membership Toolkit, and we can't wait to show you that later on in this meeting. And I'll go through now and touch on some highlights from each of our pillars. The member support pillar is here to help members succeed personally and professionally. This pillar was started by two of our directors, Kat Daniels and Kirsty McDonald. And it is truly, kind of the cornerstone of our group. We have an incredible monthly meeting committee that have hosted 9 virtual meetings this year. It's a massive effort, so thank you to Miranda Miller-Dillon for leading that charge, Liz Bell and Anna Maria Peter as well for all of their work on that committee. We also onboarded over 140 new Slack users to our community. That's where we get to engage, ask questions, find each other, etc. And as mentioned, we published our 2021 biannual survey results in our paper. So huge thanks to Brecca Gaffney and Kat Daniels for analyzing all that survey data and helping us get published. We have a new survey coming soon, so I think Brecca is going to talk about that in a little bit. And again, just to kind of show all of these wonderful videos here, the monthly meeting committee did an extraordinary job to advance professional development opportunities for our members, from workshops to research presentations to career panels and so much more. And we've had amazing collaborators along the way. The images on the right are just some of them. A huge thanks to all these organizations for being, again, amazing partners with these meetings as well as IWB overall. The communications pillar was directed by the wonderful Alexa Johnson this year, and this pillar works on elevating the representation and visibility of our members. Thank you to Armida Menafsada and Freya Watson for running our Twitter account that has over 2,000 followers so far. Freya started these really cool quarterly papers to highlight women's science in an accessible way to the public, and it's taken off. Our January paper, I think, got 50,000 impressions. Katie, Bradley, and Alexa run our blogs, which are written by our members, and they cover everything from parenting as a researcher, taking care of your mental health, calculating joint angles. I think that one got 3,000 views. So thank you to our blog writers for being vulnerable, for taking the time to share your stories, your knowledge and expertise. So please do take advantage of that resource and share it with your community. It's available to all. So this pillar also collates resources. Thank you to Shazlin Shaharudin and Nikita Sharma for their work. And again, thank you for all the work from this pillar for the many conference events that we had. So as I mentioned, we really got a chance to connect in person this year for the first time. We had over, I think, 100 people attend our social events at NACOB. We got to collaborate with Black Biomechanics Association and Latinx in Biomechanics on a Diversifying Your Workplace workshop. We worked with Novell, ASB, and CSB on a Women in Science event. And in World Congress of Biomechanics, we had a team of volunteers run a really amazing panel of women at all different career stages, sharing their advice, and then kind of running a workshop as well, hosted by Melissa Boswell and Hannah O'Day of the Boom podcast. And they actually took some of that workshop and they presented it at one of our monthly meetings that is available on their Boom podcast YouTube page. So please check that out. Again, we're providing so many great resources to the biomechanics community writ large. And so thank you so much again to the Empowering Allies pillar that was established by Caitlin Banks and is educating and empowering allies within and outside IWB. Shout out to Aurelie Fain and Katie Knaus for their work in this pillar. Together, this pillar is putting together amazing resources, and they collaborate often with our affinity groups like BBA and LIB. For example, Diversifying Your Workplace was just one of them. Caitlin hosted a really phenomenal disability allyship virtual meeting, which had a ton of resources and education on how to be a better ally for individuals with disabilities. So I highly recommend, again, sharing that with your colleagues and using these resources. And a huge thanks as well to the Biomechanics Initiative and Paul DeVita. They sponsored 9 Women in Biomechanics outreach winners this year and have done so much to, again, raise the visibility of women in biomechanics. I also want to give a really big shout out to Katie Knaus and Caitlin for establishing this new Nominate Women initiative. It was established to increase the visibility and recognition of women's accomplishments in biomechanics. You can see in the table on the right, that was published from our paper, showing how few women have received the top biomechanics awards in various international biomechanics societies. So Katie now, recognizing this, has a team working with her to address this and making sure all of us have the resources we need to nominate ourselves or get nominated for these really big awards and get recognition and visibility for our work. So there's so much more to be said, but just want to say a really massive thank you. This is the picture of the first exec board as a nonprofit. Most of us, except for Kirsty, were able to meet at NACOB this year. We meet virtually at odd times of the day, do all of this work in addition to our day jobs. It's just a huge, huge labor of love. It's kind of hard to put into words, something you really literally sometimes put your blood, sweat, tears, and countless hours on. I know there's a really big thank you coming up, but I just have to add my voice to say thank you to Kirsty, Kat, and Caitlin as they move on from the director roles. We really started IWB together, and their contributions will forever shape this organization. So I, again, really miss you all. I hope you have a really great rest of your meeting. And I'll just say that I want nothing more from this organization than for this to be a space where you feel valued, where you feel like you belong in biomechanics, and that this community is there for you whenever you need it. Even if you only check in the Slack once or twice, it is there for you when you need it. And there are people behind you cheering you on always. I'm always here cheering you on in the corner, even when I'm not physically or virtually there. So thank you again for this opportunity to run this amazing organization. I love it so much, and I hope you have a great meeting. Bye.
Great. We got the sound working on that less than a minute before the meeting started, and there's just absolutely no way I could have said any of that half as well as Anna. So I'm so relieved that it worked. So many achievements to celebrate this year, sort of across so many different sort of parts of IWB.
Thank you all.
now I'm just going to hand over to Lauren, who's going to tell you a bit about IWB at the conferences this summer.
Yeah, so this last year we had such a great turnout at our conferences, especially those that had IWB involvement. So now just around the corner, we have ISB coming up in Japan, and then in just a couple of weeks, ASB in Knoxville, Tennessee. So if you haven't already, Rachel is going to be our conference coordinator. So she's been doing a great job getting all these channels on Slack up. So if you are not on our Slack channel, make sure you join, and then also join the hashtag for conference meetup. So if you're unsure of which one to go, the conference meetup channel is going to be more of a general. And then from there are individual IWB Slack channels. So there is one for ISB. So make sure you join. There's going to be an IWB social hour. The details are going to be coming up. So I'm sure those will be sent in that conference chat. Additionally, there's going to be an Advancing Women in Biomechanics workshop event on intersectionality. That will be on Monday, July 31st at 7 p.m. So if you are attending ISB, make sure you go in and check that out, sign up for that event. It's going to be a good one. And then additionally for ASB in Knoxville, there's going to be a social hour for IWB. That's going to be on Tuesday, August 8th. If you join that Slack channel, there'll be a lot of updates as well. And then just to make a little plug for it, yesterday an email went out if you are going to ASB about the Women in Science event. So make sure you also sign up for that. There is limited availability for registration for that. So last year it filled up. So make sure you go register for that event as well. That's all I got.
Thank you, Lauren. So now I'm going to hand over to Melissa. So Melissa does so much fantastic work behind the scenes. She did have a PhD in biomechanics at Bristol University in the UK. And she actually designed the IWB logo, which you're all going to be super familiar with. And now Melissa does a lot of work is a sort of scientific artist. So she is working really hard on developing a new website, which is something that we are using the money for from funding that we've received recently. So Melissa is going to share her screen and give you a tour of the website that is still in development. But what we'd really like, because we want this to be a website that everyone uses, and that it's a really just excellent source of information. So as Melissa is going through, it would be really useful to us if you could put either questions or suggestions or just any style of feedback. We'd love to know what you like about it as well as things that you don't, so that then we can take all of those answers and have a discussion about it later. We're also on the lookout for volunteers to be on a website development team. So that would be with me and obviously working closely with Anna and Melissa and others, basically to help with a soft launch of the website and to use the website and sort of provide user feedback so that we can make sure that when it's fully launched, there's no bugs, it's perfect, it's exactly what we want, it's what our members want as well. So two things: feedback on the actual website, and if you would like to be on a specific team to help with that, then please either message in the chat or send me a DM on Slack. I'm Freya Watson. So it'd be great to hear from you. So I will stop sharing my screen, and then Melissa, you should be able to share yours, and I'll hand over to you.
Hi everyone. I'm really excited to be here today. It was really cool when Anna and the team reached out to me to design the new IWB website because, as Fergus said, I designed the logo years ago. So it was like a nice opportunity to go a bit further with it. And yeah, also this website is nowhere near finished and there is so much room for improvement. But one thing that I want to highlight is that I am aiming to put accessibility as the forefront of this website as much as I possibly can. Not everything is done yet. For example, we're still missing adding all the alternative text to all of the images, but that will be done in time for the first feedback round of the website. So yeah, I've been working on this alongside one of the graphic designers in my team, and who's produced all of the beautiful illustrations of the website. Not all of them are complete yet. They're mostly in draft stage. But for example, the one that you can see in the homepage, I hope that you can all see it. It would be sort of like the style we are aiming for. So yeah, we have several pages. They're going to be public facing pages and pages only for members. Right now, we only have the public facing ones. But yeah, basically this will be a hub for all of you to be able to find resources as easily as you possibly can. And one really cool thing about this platform is that you can just translate the entire website into whatever language you can. And it seems to work pretty well, so I'm very happy with that. So yeah, the few pages that we have at the moment are the homepage. We have the membership page. This will eventually become a different page, but right now it's just a link to the old website just to avoid confusion. We have the About Us page. So as you can see, all of the illustrations are still drafts, but it's good so that you can give me feedback on them in case they need modifying before we stylize all of the illustrations. So yeah, this is what we have right now. There's probably mistakes on the website. I haven't double checked everything, so yeah, please do let me know. So yeah, if you click on this, you can go and see the different pillars of IWB and the objectives for each one of the pillars. And at the bottom of each of these pages, you have the team that is working on it. I don't have all of the information yet, but this will be completed in time. So yeah, that's member support, communications. Empowering allies. And we also have some more pages of like the bylaws and stuff like that. This is not as exciting, it's just a lot of text. And finally, we have contact. I've also been working on moving all of the blog posts from the previous website. That is a lot of work though, because you've written a lot of really amazing blog posts, but this is what it looks like so far. They are not complete. I'm still missing a lot, but I think it's headed in the right direction. So yes, please do let us know any feedback you have, any ideas, anything you'd like us to change or improve. I am more than happy to incorporate as much as I possibly can within the capabilities of the platform. So yeah, I think that's all I had to say. So thank you very much, and I hope that you like the website so far.
Thank you so much, Melissa. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, thanks everyone for your comments. Really helpful. There's a lot of love for the images. So so yeah, they're really, really sweet, and I think they represent sort of all the different sort of things that people do within biomechanics, and across all the different sorts of people that would be involved. So yeah, really good to have your feedback. Please feel free to keep the feedback coming, or again, feel free to message me on Slack with anything if you kind of think about something after, like maybe if you're using a different website that's might be for a similar sort of charity or networking or sort of like professional website, and you think something that they do is really good. We'd love to hear about that, because that would just help us inform things that you think work really nicely elsewhere, and we can see how we can make it work. So yeah, hopefully it won't be long, and it'll be in full swing. So let me share my screen again. So I am going to go through. So we held elections earlier in the year. So where IWB was sort of established in 2020, I guess sort of more serious role structure and organizational structure kind of started to happen in 2021. And so then we held elections sort of early 2023, and July so this anniversary marks the handover of those roles. So we've got a few people who are leaving roles, a few people who are staying in the roles, a few people who are changing roles, and a few completely new people to new roles. So we've tried to make sure that we've got a really comprehensive list. So again, I try and go through everyone, outgoing and incoming volunteers. So first up, we've got the member support team. So as Anna mentioned in her talk, Kat and Kirsty were fundamental to sort of establishing sort of the IWB as it looks today. And so I know, it's really sad to see them go, but Kat's written that she enjoyed sort of meeting and working with so many incredible women in biomechanics, and yeah, Kirsty has really enjoyed watching the community grow. And then our monthly meeting committee is changing. So it was previously led by Ramanda Miller-Dillon, who did a fantastic job of making sure that there was always speakers and lots of collaborations with other sort of biomechanics communities. And she was joined by Anna Maria, who was a meeting coordinator as well. Yeah, and Anna Maria enjoyed sort of meeting lots of different speakers that maybe you wouldn't have previously had reason to communicate with. And yeah, and Ramanda loved sort of networking and meeting new people, and particularly sort of on the international level, meeting people across the world doing like outside of your area, outside of her area of particular research. So thank you so much to all of them. And then on the communications team, so that is me. I was doing Twitter, sort of social media and paper of the quarter. And yeah, I just loved, especially on Twitter, kind of like the same as Ramanda, it gave me an excuse to communicate with people who do a different type of biomechanics to me. And it was really interesting, like through paper of the quarter, I loved reading about other people's research that they did. And it was just a really good way to meet new people, and I've definitely sort of established a network by doing that. And then Nikita was helping with the resources and helped Alexa with the blogs. And then on empowering allies, you have Caitlin Banks. So again, as Anna said, Caitlin was sort of one of the sort of fundamental sort of people in terms of establishing IWB, and Caitlin loved contributing to alliedship themed meetings, which she organised with Ramanda. And then Caitlin ran the Disability Allyship meeting recently, which helped her sort of learn and expand her knowledge within the community. And Aurelie was on the Empowering Allies Committee as well. So she's done like lots of excellent work with Caitlin and Katie on that committee. So got some incoming members. We've got Caitlin is moving, so she was the Empowering Allies Director and she's now the Treasurer. Ashley Collymore is staying on as Secretary. As Anna said in her talk, Ashley is just the absolute queen of organization and is just so good at her job. So it's amazing to have her carry on doing that and saving us all from melting in paperwork. So I'm really looking forward to working with both of them. And then Becca Gaffney runs the survey. You'll hear from Becca in a little bit. And Becca is continuing in that role. Alexa is the director of the communications pillar. She's continuing. Amita helps with the social media on the communications pillar. She's continuing, as is Marnie and Katie. And then Katie Knaus is continuing on the Empowering Allies team. Katie does really good work with the Nominate Women, which I think Anna spoke about as well. So the member support pillar is changing. So as I said, I'll be taking over from Kat and Kirsty as the member support director, and then helping with the monthly meeting teams that will be led by Liz Bell, and then got Lauren and Maisie helping with that. Kirsty, who was previously the membership support director, is continuing by helping with membership onboarding. So when people submit the forms to be a member, Kirsty sends them the relevant information, adds them to Slack, adds them to the email list, everything like that. And then Asal is joining in a new role of regional chapter lead. So we would like to begin the process, which will be like a long process so that it's sustainable, but it'll be so that we can make sure that people feel supported in their different areas around the world, and they might have sort of different smaller groups that are more local to them as IWB grows. So that's a really exciting opportunity. And in the communications team, Krista Marie is taking over sort of my role, doing paper of the quarter and social media. Vera is also doing social media. Devin is helping Alexa with the blogs and the resources. And then as Lauren said, Rachel Teeter is in a new role looking at sort of conference planning to make sure that, now that we can contact each other in person, it all happens. And on the Empowering Allies Committee, we have Elena Cocconi, who's going to lead on the Nominate Women alongside Anne and Sung Yun. And so that's all the changeovers. I hope you kept up. Luckily, there's not a test later. But all of those people you'll be able to find on Slack if you want to get in contact with them for any reason. I'm sure they'd be more than happy to do so. And you will be able to find their details on the website if you can't remember all the names. So now I'm going to hand over to Brecca to talk about the survey.
All right, thanks, Freya. Hi, everyone. So as Freya said, my name's Brecca, and I work with Freya and formerly Kat and Kirsty on the member support team. And so if you recall, we did a survey in 2021 after we had kind of been running for about 9 months. We got responses from about 150 of our members. And this data was really instrumental in identifying and formulating the primary needs of our members at hand and how IWB can serve the members that we have. And that led to the formation of our 3 pillars: the member support, empowering allies, and I'm blanking on the third one. I've heard it 4 times today, but that shows my brain right now. But this data was also a key piece in our recent publication in Journal of Biomechanics that highlighted the direct need of this type of affinity group to support this unique demographic of women and our allies in their careers in biomechanics. And so this year we're continuing in the theme of launching our biannual survey to be able to capture who our members are, where they're located, what they're doing in the field of biomechanics. But we're also going to begin to capture the role that IWB specifically has had on the overall career development, progression, and retention of our members. And so this is really important data for us to be able to try to begin to quantify the role that IWB has on our members. And that's important for our long-term sustainability plans in both future pursuits of funding, but also as we can continue to refine and evolve our content to best serve the needs of our current members. And so it's completely anonymous. Hopefully it'll take about 10 minutes maximum. It's much shorter this year. And as we're all scientific researchers, the larger the sample size, the better the power. So please take the time to fill it out. I think we are going to denote about 5-10 minutes now for folks to fill it out, and then we'll be continuing to push it on all of our platforms over the next month.
Yeah, so Lauren has kindly put the link in the chat. So please fill it in. And yeah, or get yourself a cup of tea or do both. And we'll see you in about 10 minutes. Okay, so hopefully that's given you enough time to fill in the survey, and hopefully Brecca's email account has been going like bing 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 with your replies. If you haven't had a chance to do it, or you just want to do it at a different time, take a bit longer, we'll obviously be sharing it on Slack and via email, and we will be reminding you about it as well. But thank you so much for those that took the time to do that. Yeah, that's really helpful, and it's a really good start for us to have that many people complete it already. So nearly there. So I'm just going to hand back to Lauren, who, as I said, is a new part of the monthly meetings committee. And so Lauren is just going to say a bit about that.
Yeah, so we just wanted to take a second to talk a little bit about the upcoming monthly meetings for this upcoming year. So we just celebrated our 3rd anniversary. So looking ahead from here until next July, what we want to accomplish during our monthly meetings, what we want to hear from you all for what has worked in the past, what you have enjoyed listening to, enjoyed contributing to when it came to our monthly meetings, as well as what you want to see more of. So these monthly meetings are meant for our members to meet the needs of our members. So we have our survey out, but we also want to hear kind of feedback instantaneously, to hear from you all kind of what panel discussions you may be interested in as well. So if you want to go ahead and post in the chat, direct message one of us, or even email, Liz Bell will be kind of leading the monthly meetings here on out. So you can also direct message her as well. She is also on this call. But it's really just a time for you to reflect on what you might be interested in moving forward. And if you are new and this is your first monthly meeting, welcome. We are happy to have you, but to also think about what you are wanting from this group moving forward and what would really benefit you. So I think we're going to take a couple minutes to either discuss what we want to see more of, enter it in the chat, direct message, anything like that, so we can incorporate that into our planning for the upcoming year. Thank you.
Yeah, we'll just take 2 or 3 minutes just to give people an opportunity to have a think about that.
Freya, I'm just going to jump in and say thank you, great meeting. And as we open this up to discuss future meetings, I just want to let everyone know that it would be really helpful if even if you're on other pillars of the community, you can think of how to integrate your focuses into the monthly meetings as well. I think something that went really well last year was Caitlin's takeover of the monthly meeting. And I know that we definitely have the Empowering Allies group on the board for the next couple of months. But even if you're in charge of the community outreach session, maybe there's something that your group is really diving into that we could quickly integrate into a focus for a large virtual meeting. And we would be happy to do that, happy to learn more about what you're doing so we can work together and kind of have some seamless outreach together.
Thanks, Liz. Yeah, that would be really great.
I see Ashley brought up the Parents in Academia blogs. I think that's a great example. Caitlin has a great idea about mental health content. That's definitely on the list. Even leading a meditation, that's a great idea. Feel free to speak up. I know the meeting's being recorded, but we're not just glued to the text.
I think another one that got promoted a lot was opportunities for members to chat more with each other and having some prompts. So if anyone wants to also expand upon maybe ideas for certain prompts they were interested in, that could be helpful as well.
Yeah, I really like that idea, Ashley, about how to get the most out of conferences. Perhaps that'll be like a spring next year before the summer conferences of what to do and how to make the most of the opportunity, particularly if there's new students who maybe haven't attended like a big international conference. And we could do, I mean, there's all sorts of different aspects to a conference that you could talk about there.
I have a sort of question for the group. I don't know if there's any interest in this. Does anybody want like technical workshop type things? Like, I mean, are people comfortable in MATLAB or R and wanting to be comfortable in those places? I just attended a like a statistical bootstrapping workshop put on by a colleague today, and it was so good. And I'm wondering if other people want to learn those kind of techniques.
That was well timed with Maria's message in the chat about technical meetings.
Yeah, your brains are on the same wavelength.
But yeah, I agree. We have done like lab meetings around like Adobe Illustrator or things like that too, with like making figures and some of that stuff. And so those could be fun.
Yeah, these are all really excellent ideas. So well, I'm going to be, I'll be downloading the chat the chat text. Thank you so much. We're always open to suggestions. So feel free to contact Liz or feel free to contact me if you have any ideas. If you attend a really good session and be like, well, that was so good, I know a lot of other people who'd be interested in doing that, then tell us about it. Liz has just put her email in the chat, and mine is on the screen, as is Lauren's. If you like at any point in the year, we're always we like to keep a list, and obviously we like to try and vary it. But you know, everyone's brains working together, and obviously people have different opportunities at their different institutions in their different countries. So it would be just really good if you see anything that you like, then let us know about it. So thank you so much for your input on that. So finally, just wanted to highlight some little happy news stories to end on. One of the best things about IWB, personally for me, was the ability to network with other women internationally and sort of open up discussions, networking, advice. So these are 3 examples of people who have, through IWB, have sort of created new opportunities for themselves with the support and generosity of this community. So Julia was able to speak to a few different early career researcher women in IWB, and she arranged calls with them and chatted about career path and advice for a career in academia, basically. And she found it really useful to hear sort of multiple perspectives from different women. Lauren had attended multiple sessions from IWB and heard, I think, what is sort of becoming more common knowledge, that men are more likely to apply for a position even if they don't meet all of the application criteria, even like the so-called essential things. And women are much less likely to do that unless they fulfill most or all of the criteria. And Lauren heard about that, and then that gave her the confidence to apply to a job that she previously wouldn't have, and she's sort of through to the second round of interviews. So that's really awesome. And Ami is a student in Japan who wants to apply for PhD programs in the US. And through the IWB, sort of through the Slack community, she was able to arrange a visit to Stanford University in the US. And obviously that gave her like some experience and contacts and connections to help her with her PhD sort of program applications. So yeah, so those, I mean, and I'm sure there's so many more stories like that. I'm sure everyone has their own things. So that is everything for this meeting. Thank you all so much for coming. I hope you've sort of seen, you know, how much stuff goes, like if everyone takes their small thing from IWB, but there's so many different like opportunities and ways to be involved and ways to benefit from the community. So you can see everything that goes on in the background and highlighted all the like hard work that lots of people have been doing. So yeah, so thank you again, and thank you for your feedback on monthly meetings and on the website. Please fill in the survey if you didn't fill it in just now. And we will be in touch to let you know about the next sort of upcoming meetings. And if any of you are going to ISB, I'll see you there. And those who are going to ASB, have a wonderful time. Yeah, have a lovely evenings, afternoons, rest of days. Yeah, see you all.